Hello, welcome to Cindy's Library. This is Cindy, and today I'm going to talk about the items that I have read so far in February. So let's get to it. First of all, I read this in only 2 or maybe 3 days at the most. Once Upon a Queen by Sarah Arthur. Absolutely loved it. Try to remember to link the full review down below. But the short version, aside from the fact that I loved it, is Eva has never met her maternal grandmother. She's lived with her parents in the States all her life. My grandmother lives in England at a manor house. But circumstances arise where she and her mother have to spend the summer in England with grandmother. At first, she doesn't understand why the rift between mother and grandmother. Then she starts to understand. But then the question becomes, what made her grandmother this way? And is magic real? And if it is, well, it's wonderful. What about the consequences when people come back from magical worlds? Absolutely loved it. Let's see, I ended up grabbing The Search for Richard III, The King's Grave by Philippa Langley and Michael Jones. This I'm counting for the We Love Jenny readathon. So the first book that I completed for that since Jenny loved Richard III. It's almost 2 books in one. In about half the chapters, we have the experience of Philippa Langley and many others trying to figure out where Richard's grave is and the dig that actually found him and everything connected with that. The second part basically covers Richard III, bit of family background, who he was, some of the things we know he did, things like that. I didn't find the history part hard to follow. It was easy enough. I think part of it's the writing style, part of it is I have been working on studying the War of the Roses lately, but I enjoyed it. Not sure I could quite say I loved it, but I enjoyed it. It was certainly informative. Glad I read it. And for Victober, I read Belinda by Mariah Edgeworth, and I absolutely loved it. I'm going to give this its own individual review that'll probably be coming next. But till then, aside from the fact that I loved it, I can tell you this is one of Jane Austen's favorite novels, and it features, of course, Belinda. She is the youngest of a fierce aunt who is determined to get all the nieces married, and she is the youngest of the nieces. To help promote this, the aunt sends Belinda to Lady Delacour in London for the season and society and all of that. And, well, we'll just say things go on from there. Absolutely loved it, though. Good choice for the group read for Feb Regency. Also for, well, maybe directly, well, it is not Feb Regency, but close enough. I had to read some Jane Austen, so I listened to Persuasion, and I absolutely loved it, of course. Persuasion, of course, is the story of Anne Elliot. She's not quite old enough to be considered an old maid, and well, her older sister still has some hope, but Anne's beauty has faded. She has been disappointed. 8 odd years earlier, she got engaged to Captain Wentworth. Her family didn't exactly improve, but she could have stood up to them. Except Lady Russell, who became a second mother after her own mother's death, disapproved also, so Anne was persuaded to break it off. But as 8 years later, Anne is getting up there in age. The Elliot family's circumstances have changed, as has Captain Wentworth's, and circumstances put Anne and Captain Wentworth together again, and it is just so amazing. I love it. Let's see. I also read all of Your Name in manga format. So, yep, you can see. And yes, this is exactly what is in the famous movie. Wonderful story. It does start out, I guess you could call it rather slapstick. You have Taki and Mitsuha. One day they wake up and, well, after putting some clues together, they realized that somehow the day previously, Taki was in Mitsuha's body and living her life, and vice versa. So, some awkward scenes there, but they get to know each other, get to know something about each other's lives, and things are going on like that when one day everything changes and things take a more serious turn that culminates in an amazing finale. And I probably can't say more than that, except I love it. Watch the movie if you haven't. It is wonderful. Take good for teens on up, most likely. And if you're into manga, the manga version, it consists of 3 volumes, is good too. I wouldn't say it added anything, but that's okay in this case. It's good enough as it is. And I also read A Pocketful of Rye, Agatha Christie, my next Miss Marple. So, this one, we have Rex Fortescue, a financial tycoon. He is at his office just doing things and suddenly falls ill, and a couple hours later dies. The odd thing is, he has rye in his pocket for some reason. And so that is odd enough. The police aren't sure what's going on with that. And there's certainly plenty of people who could have wanted him dead. They figure out it definitely was poisoning. They figure that out in the first couple of chapters. They also quickly realize the office is the type of poison where the office people couldn't have done it, so it's most likely someone at home. And there are plenty of people at home who would have had reason to wish Rex Fortescue dead. But events progress along, and for reasons Miss Marple, of course, gets involved and puts in her 2 cents. Won't say it's necessarily my favorite, but I still really enjoyed it. Gotta love a murder with a house full of people, all of whom would love the victim to be dead. Anyway, that is what I have completed so far this month. Hopefully the rest of the month will be just as good. How is your reading so far this February been? Hope it's been just as enjoyable. Are you doing any of the readathons this month? Feb Regency, We Love Jenny, or other ones that I may not have heard of? Love to hear about it if you are. Thank you so much for stopping by. Truly do appreciate it. So until next time, I hope we all stay safe and healthy. And as always, happy reading.